Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward.
What's up, guys? Altcoin Sherpa here with a crypto market review. As always, this is not financial advice. I'm not an expert to your own research. Today, I want to review a bunch of altcoins here. These are some altcoins that I have on my list, but they're obviously not the only ones that are interesting. Let's go into Chainlink first. Chainlink is a coin that's been chopping for almost an entire year. We've seen it stay in the same range since May 2022, and you can see a lot of volume being transacted at this current level. Even if you took pretty much the entire price history, there's almost as much volume here as it was back at the $2 level, where price consolidated for over a year, I think, from June to April the following year. And you can see lots and lots of volume being transacted. So what does this mean? Usually it means that when you see some sort of accumulation pattern like this, it means that there's going to be an absolute monster run. So we saw this move from basically like $1.50 or something, $1.40 from the lows, the COVID dump in 2020, all the way up to $50 in the bull market. Absolutely incredible run. And I'm not saying this is going to do something similarly because the market conditions are quite a bit different, but I do believe that actually when Link starts to really move, I'm really looking for at least a 2x for sure. So if you have like a Chainlink position at here $7, I think that the likelihood of it going to $14 is very, very high. When that happens, I actually have zero idea. I have no idea. It could take months, weeks. It could take another year for all I know. I mean, I doubt it. But, I think that when Chainlink starts to actually move strong, I think that it's quite likely this goes to at least $14 at a minimum. And I wouldn't be surprised since it's accumulated for such a long time, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see something like $25 or something. It has looked pretty good, and it hasn't moved much relative to other altcoins. And you've seen other altcoins and they all gone 2-3x from the bottom. Yeah, this hit $5 and went to $9, but it hasn't really done a whole lot. So that to me usually is a marker of accumulation. As I said, huge amount of volume being transacted in this level, and people are filling their bags. This is actually a pretty reasonable type of coin to just buy and just sit on if you have the patience for it. If you're not active, if you just want kind of an inactive trade, you just buy this, you average in from $5 to $7, and you just sit on it. You literally, it's kind of like trading Dogecoin back in the day, where you knew Doge was going to do a 2 or 3x. You just had to sit on it for weeks or months or even years. But it's a near guarantee to hit. Obviously, there's no guarantee in trading. There's no guarantee in crypto, but this to me looks really good. And if you look at all the other indicators via TA, I said volume profile, huge amount of volume. All the EMAs have reset. They're all looking very compressed, and there's just a lot of buying within this area, in my opinion. I would be very surprised if it makes another strong leg down to the $2 level. That would happen if Bitcoin, went to, I don't know, 12K, 13K, 14K, 15K or whatever. We see a cataclysmic collapse in Bitcoin. But for now, I feel strongly that Link is going to just a pretty good trade, and I would just buy and hold it if you're looking for that type of inactive trade. Let's look at ARB. ARB looks good, in my opinion. I just did a tweet on it, and I think the areas to look for are the $1.50-ish or $1.45 area. I'm using this fib. I think that usually the 0.38 will get tapped or around there. It doesn't have to be there. So, if you look at volume profile again, high volume node right around 153, 150, kind of that 153, 152 area. This, in my opinion, would be a pretty interesting area to buy. And I am looking at ARB in general. I think that ARB is a pretty solid project still. Lots of interest overall. And 153 probably would be a pretty reasonable first buying area, in my opinion. All the way down to the kind of 140 area, that to me would be an interesting area if you're just using fibs. The problem with the 140 area is that there's not really a whole lot of liquidity you can see. Maybe if we scroll down to like the 5 minute or something, there's going to be some sort of base that's formed, but it doesn't look like. Okay, so I take that back. If you scroll down to the 5 minute mark, it's hidden, but this is why sometimes it's good to scroll down to lower time frames. This would be solid support. So I was worried that, this 140 area would have nothing, but there's a consolidation base in both these areas where price briefly dipped down and then went higher. But you can see that that's pretty, it's not really super visible on higher time frames. It just looks like yes, it dips down here, but you generally want to see price come back down and form some sort of mini base and then go higher. That's what you really want to see, and that's what you can see on lower time frames. So I would just view 151, 153 or so to like 145. That would be interesting in my opinion for an entry for R. But I still believe this is going to I wouldn't be surprised if this goes above 2. If you look at it from a fundamental standpoint, it still has like pretty high TVL, pretty high usage relative to other blockchains that are similarly or close to being same value. So let's go to Aptos. Aptos is one I was actually viewing myself, but I don't think I'm going to buy it. I think it still looks pretty reasonable, actually. I think that grabbing an entry of the 0.5 around $1 or 11.72 looks somewhat interesting. And you can see a lot of consolidation and compression around that area. And these are the EMAs on the daily. So, somewhere around like 11.72 should be pretty solid support in my opinion. And generally speaking, when you see price chopping around like this, it's pretty reasonable for compression and consolidation. And I think that usually these types of EMAs should be pretty strong as support. However, if Bitcoin does make a strong move down, then I would not be surprised at all to see the 0.68 tapped around 968, I'm sorry. Around that area, that's kind of like where I would look. But still think that Aptos is a pretty reasonable long, but you would probably want to long a little bit lower than where it currently is at, personally. BNB, I think it looks pretty strong. And this is an area of interest because you can see that this area has been tapped several times. So, for example, bullish here, support, bearish ever since then. It's the same line, this 333. We haven't seen a close above that. This is at least on the 3-day. Well, we saw a deviation here on November 22nd, but then a quick close below. Why did I use this level? And remember, these levels are all subjective too. I could just put it a little higher as well. Maybe it's a little higher. Maybe it's right here, the daily close. Maybe it's this instead. Because you see these wicks getting tapped here in May, August, deviation above in November, tap again in February. So if you want super precise levels, yeah, you can go 336, whatever. The bottom line is that we haven't really seen a daily close above this in a long time. As I said, we saw this in November, but that was just a deviation. We haven't really truly seen a close above this since early May of 2022. So it's been quite some time. And if you just strip everything away too, you could honestly just maybe just consider this an overall accumulation base. So you see something like this. I'd probably use this as my fib. And the reason is that usually the range gets established pretty early on in the candle. So what you'll see is some sort of big dump and then a big bounce back and something like this. And the range will form from the highs and the lows. And that's generally what you'll see right here too. From the dump back in May of 2022, these highs and lows established the overall trading range, and you see deviations on both ends as well. So you'll see deviations from the higher end and the lower end, And when establishing the range, you generally, as I said before, you're looking for areas that get tapped multiple times. So this, in my opinion, would be like kind of this trading range for BNB. You could maybe mark this at the far low part. That's also maybe potential, but in my opinion, that's more of a deviation. I think that this is more reasonable, this first wick, because as I said, the range gets established within the first few candles. So, yeah, I think this is just more of a deviation, this June move. But anyways, the point being is that price hasn't really closed above this, for almost a year now, and I think that, oopsies, I think that it's looking like it's pretty healthy in my opinion. So 340 days of chop around. The overall EMAs, I'm guessing, have all pretty clustered together. Looks pretty nice. And reset. And if this actually does have a strong breakout, then I would view the... What would I view? I would view 450 probably. 450 as a first area. And there's going to be a lot of intermediate levels in between, but 450 would probably be my next level up if we see a breakout. But overall, it looks pretty reasonable in my opinion. But, you might, if trade idea-wise, you might want to wait until this breaks and then retest it before entering. Lastly, INJ. INJ is one of the strongest coins in the entire market. Absolutely monster fucking run. This went back from $1 to now $8.70. And as I said, absolutely insane run. I think the next area up would be around this $10, $10.60 area. And that's going to be a pretty interesting area in my opinion. Would be looking to take heavy profits around there if you were in this trade personally. I am not. I've been looking to buy dips forever and they never hit. I've just been too greedy. I should just buy every single dip. Any red day for INJ you can probably just buy. Monster volume still coming in. This one is still strong. However, I personally think that it's starting to look maybe a little overextended, so you can maybe consider just buying a dip. And there's also arguments to say why buy this one since it's already up several X from the bottom? Why not I just look for something that hasn't pumped as much? And that is one argument to have. However, this type of coin is easier to trade because it's trending so strong. You can simply buy any sort of dip and you can see gains, at least for that it was that case for the last few months. Going forward, I don't know if that's still the case. As I said, still looks really strong. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see 850 or 1050, but caution is, you should probably start to be a little cautious overall just because how strong this one's moved. So still think it's a strong coin. And there's pros and cons to trading this type of thing. Liquidity is going to be great. The trend is very clear, unlike every other altcoin. It's very choppy. And, this one still looks good. But you definitely should start to take caution given how much it's gone up overall. And you don't want to necessarily buy every single dip once the market structure starts breaking on lower time frames. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for the support. Cheers.